The training and development diaries are back. I thought I could take a break from all this. I thought the videos would be enough, but apparently there have been calls for me to focus on training and development on Football Manager 23. And that's what we're going to do on today's show. Today, we're going to focus on setting things up right so that you can get those youth players sprouting like cabbages. Just like in the past, we've gone with a decent club. We've got Porto, who've got excellent training facilities, great youth facilities, excellent academy coaching, excellent youth recruitment. Now, this means that we still need to get this club's facilities up. It's something that you have to do whenever you do a youth development save. And that's what we're going to cover on today's show, the setup. Why pick a good club? Because realistically speaking, you get the best development once you have the best facilities and the best coaches. Until you get to that point, your youth players are never going to reach their full potential. Chances are those high potential players that you might have if you're a lower league club, they want to leave your club. They want to go to bigger clubs so they have more potential for growth, more potential to play. You're not going to be able to keep them. So if you're a lower league club, most of the time you're trying to, punch above your weight. You're trying to move up the ladder. Along the way, you're always bringing in new players. So there's going to be a lot of attrition in terms of players. You don't really get a lot of time to develop youth players. If your facilities are great and your coaches are fantastic, then the quality of your youth players will be good, which is the reason why we always suggest youth development. You start focusing on it once you become a good club. Like over here, we've got Porto. They've got excellent training facilities, great youth facilities, excellent academy coaching, and excellent youth recruitment. Now, in terms of their level, they're not at the top yet. And even if you haven't reached the top like this, if your club reputation is good enough, is high enough, you can still attract very good players to your club. When you go into the game and you come down to the development center, there's a little tab here that says youth candidates. Now, different clubs have got different times when these youth candidates pop up. So these players right now will be considered invisible players. The quality of these players will depend on your coach's attributes and the quality of your facilities. And here's the kicker. You also want to make sure that the personality of your youth coaches are good. Now, we found over many years of playing that your head of youth development affects the outliers. That means the 0 stars and the 5 stars, right? Those are the extremes that the head of youth development affects. But the rest of the personalities of the youth players, actually, they get affected by the personality of your coaches in your youth team. So you want to make sure that the youth team coaches all have a good personality. Why are personalities so important? Well, they affect a player's performances when he's playing a game and also during training. A player who's got a great mix of professionalism, ambition, and determination tends to train really well. And there are a few personalities that have these in good mix. These include the model citizen, perfectionist, and players with a resolute personality. So I always prioritize their personality first, and then I look for coaching qualifications and their world reputation. Finally, you also want to make sure that it fits your style. If you're playing a 4-3-3 DM-wide system, then ideally try and get coaches who also have a preferred formation that is a 4-3-3. Remember, this is for your youth coaches. As far as your senior team coaches are concerned, I still focus on their coaching qualifications, world reputation, and of course, them having the right attributes for the job. Because ultimately, by the time your players come into the senior team, you need your coaches to have the right kind of attributes. And this is important. Even if the players in the youth team, he will still go to the same training facilities that the senior team is using. So you don't want to think that, hey, they're not going to the same training facilities. They are. So before you even jump into youth development, are your training facilities good enough? Because when those youth players pop up, they're going to be affected by your current training facilities that your senior team is using. So, okay, we've talked about coaches, we've talked about facilities. What about training time? Before a player is 18 years old, it's best you leave him in the youth team, let him train as much as possible. What if his attributes are good enough to play in the senior team? You can promote a 17-year-old to the senior team because if his attributes are good enough, then he's good enough, right? But you also want to make sure you don't overplay him too much, because the moment he gets jaded and tired or injured, his development takes a major knock. And it's very dangerous because sometimes they can start picking up bad traits as well. Like you might get a player suddenly becoming inconsistent because your senior team isn't playing well, but you put this 17-year-old into that senior team and he's joined them not playing well. So he develops inconsistency along the way. So you want to be very careful with the amount of time you give him in the senior team. sometimes the best thing to do is to send them out on loan. If they are good enough, but they're just shy of the necessary experience in the senior team, it's fine to send them on loan. But what you want to do when you send them on loan is you want to make sure that they go to the right kind of clubs. Go to staff responsibilities, go to contracts, offer to clubs. This is what I'm focused on. I'm always making sure that they go to the right clubs with the right kind of facilities. So we talked about coaches, we talked about facilities, we talked about training time. What about mentoring? Now, mentoring is interesting because up to FM21, we could mentor the living daylights out of a team. You can get a whole team of model citizens. It was so easy. FM22, things started getting a bit harder. So right now, what I really do is I only sign senior players who've got great personalities. Now, if they've got great personalities, as long as they are there, then if I bring a junior player into the senior team, then I'm getting mentored by those players. But do I bring like a lot of players in? I usually only mentor 1 or 2 players. Then once they have learned their personality, so to speak, I drop them back into the junior team. However, if I don't have those personalities in the senior team, there's a very strong possibility I'm letting a lot of youth players with bad personalities go. So unless they were really good personalities, driven, maybe determined, fairly professional, I'll keep them. But if they've got like fickle, I don't know, mercenary, I know there's some poor personalities, right? I'll let them go. I don't even keep ambitious players as well because ambitious players don't really stay for very long. So how do we get the senior team and the youth team to use 2 different tactics? It's got to do with staff responsibilities, and you only need to do it once when you are giving them the tactic. So here, I'm going to delegate everything. So you need to delegate everything, confirm, go to the development center. You can see here now, when you go to the under 23s, you have a choice of giving them a tactic. So we can choose to give them the youth tactic. You can do this for all the teams. So here we're giving them to the youth team, and then here in the Porto B team, here we've got them on the senior. We'll set them to the youth team. So all of them are now using the youth tactic. All I got to do then next is come into staff responsibilities, training, and take over training. So I'm interested in the youth team and the under 23 team, but I'm not interested in the B team. So we'll stop this. Once you come in here, you will see in the overview that all of them are now using your tactic that you've set up for the under 19s and for the youth teams. And if you want now to change this tactic, or maybe you want to change the team instruction. Right now, the youth team are doing counter pressing. Maybe I'm not ready for them to start doing counter pressing. All I gotta do is go to the tactic that I set up here, remove counter press. It's removed. You will notice that the tactic here with the youth team has also got counter press removed. So it's quite kind of easy. So whenever I want to make certain changes to my tactic, like maybe I want them to play something different, you can even change the roles and duties in your 4-3-3, and it'll be reflected as well. So it's one really easy way to set up a system where the youth team is using one tactic and the senior team is using something different. So there are going to be several elements to training. One of them is I like to keep track of data and how players are performing. Now, in order for you to set this up, it's a bit of a pain in the butt because you can't import a view that somebody else has created, because chances are when you import it, it's probably not going to fit your team because it's going to fit the specific league you're playing in. So here we got stats. I'm playing in this competition. I'm playing here. So I have to create a view from here itself. I can't import a view. So we got, so if you're playing the Portuguese league all the time and one of your friends is playing in the Portuguese under 19 league, maybe you can import from him. But other than that, you can't import from anyone else. So here we got customize. You come to customize your current view and add in all the data that you want. And then ultimately, you might get something looking like this. And it's specific to that league. So if I were to have this data here, can I use the same data for maybe another league that I'm taking part in? No, I can't. Like, I'll have to create a new one for the UEFA Youth League. So I got to do it here as well. Now, there's no point doing it until the competition starts. Otherwise, the data is going to be inaccurate. So here we've got the Youth League. And you can see here, one of our players is doing quite well. I'm actually pretty pleased with his development. He creates a fair few chances, 3.5 for his youth team. I mean, the biggest creators, this guy is 4.58 open play, key passes from Martin Silva, although he's only played once. So we have to give him a few more matches in game time. But here, Fabio Amaral, how do you know if your player is progressing well in training? You look at this bar. Upper cycle, good. Downward cycle, not good. So this is generally what you want to do. If a player is on an upward trajectory, means he's getting game time, he's training well. If a player is on a downward trajectory, it could be because he's not training well. He might be having personal issues. You might want to talk to him as well. Finally, we got schedules. Now, schedules are going to be straightforward. You can see this if there's no training and there's no game. This is what I plan to do, right? So this whole week. Now, if there's a game on Saturday or Sunday, they just remove these and they just put a match. It's fine. So we'll just leave it because I want 2 match practices a week for my youth team. Now, this is when they train. Now, what if they have 2 matches in a week? So maybe youth, when they have 2 matches, like here, we've got a match on Tuesday and we've got a match on Saturday. They'll just do match practice and overall and attacking. So we come inside our calendar. You can see what's happening here. There we go. There's a complete week here. There's a rest here, followed by we've got a Tuesday and a Saturday. So what I'll come in here and do is I'll take Tuesday and Saturday and I'll stick this in. And then we've got one more here, Wednesday and Saturday. I'll come in here, Wednesday and Saturday. We'll stick that in. And then they will rest. This is okay. I mean, this is plenty of rest. So we don't get players getting injured. Then finally here, we've got another Wednesday and Saturday. So they get at least 1 match practice. They travel and then they train. So then we come out. I do not want my players to get injured. Then we got Wednesday and Saturday again. So they got 1 match practice. They come in here. Actually, this day we can do match practice. So we do a match practice here. We'll do a physical rest and then we'll do a physical recovery. So it's easier. So I'll just manage our training schedules myself. Wednesday and Sunday, I can easily put a schedule here for Wednesday and Saturday and just move things around. So we've got overall outfield. We can do a match practice here. And then we'll do a recovery. And then I'll push this here and do match preparation, attacking movement. And we've got match practice here and we got match practice here. And we just keep doing the same thing for every single week. So we just manage. I'll try my best to get 2 match practices in a week. And this is their normal training sessions. That way, I do not overtrain them, right? Because my biggest worry for youth players is if we go into our youth team and I find that it's very heavy. So the other thing I like to do is I take a look at their rest, right? So here we go rest, got double intensity. Here you can see one of our players, half intensity. There's a risk of injury, right? It's high. I'm not too bothered with this player. This player is fine, actually. I've trained him before. If I'm looking at my under-19s team, we can see that if I'm worried about him, I can just remove this and go none and reduce the intensity. Even though it says medium is a band, okay, it's a low end of medium now. Once his injury susceptibility is lower here as well, so I'm going to reduce these two because the injury susceptibility is very high. So I just drop it down so that they don't get injured. So this is the way I manage my injury susceptibility as well. I keep an eye on this so I have a view that gives me workload if they're learning a new trait and whether they're susceptible to an injury. So it's very easy to manage this yourself. When youth players are training well, do I say, hey, well done, good job? No, I don't bother. Seriously, the only time I knock their heads is when they train badly. That's all. So if they got low training ratings, I knock their head. The other thing is I like to be on top of their matches, making sure that the right players are playing in the right positions. That you can easily do, right? There's a news report that comes from your coaches every time they're going to be playing a game and they ask you if these are the right players and you just have to adjust it accordingly. Finally, you got to make sure that you are managing their training. I mean, you can leave it to the ass man. That's fine. But people have asked me about my min-max approach, and this is my min-max approach, and it's been working for me for a really long time. The only thing I'm doing differently now than previous editions is I'm not so bothered with mentoring as much, right? It's because I used to be all in about mentoring. Now, mentoring, I just find the personalities. If you're not good enough, I sell you. If you're good enough, I keep you, that kind of thing, because I got no time. Because mentoring is like rolling dice nowadays. You know, sometimes you can mentor a player. He gets it within 6 months. Sometimes it takes a year. Other times you roll the dice, you go like, damn it, why is it taking more than 1 year? And you're wondering, oh man, this is not worth my time. Literally, it's not worth my time. I'm 55 years old playing this game. You take all the time in the world to wait for you to become a good personality. Hey man, I ain't got that time to wait for you. I'm just going to sell you, bring in another. It's a pixel for heaven's sakes. I'm just going to bring in a new pixel. So that's how I approach trading. Trading is very simple. You can leave it to your ass man if you find that this is too involved. But this is more for those players who want to min-max their approach. If you want to min-max your approach, this is the way I do it. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you found it useful. Meanwhile, we are doing longer versions of this show where I focus on specific things. This is a setup. It's taken a while. In future episodes, we're going to look at small little things that we do for our team along the way. You guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you again very soon. Once again, thank you for your support. Bye-bye.